Hey everyone, and welcome back to another statue unboxing and assembly. Today I'll be showing off the largest statue in my collection. This is Kisame by Ryu Studios. We'll start off by showing off the base. There's a large wave effect with some rocks, and in the center is a large green key where the shark will attach soon. I can't stress enough just how large this thing is. I'll actually be making a few guest appearances in the video just because the parts are so large that there was no other way to fit them in the lens of the camera. Here's your initial look at just how big this thing is compared to a person. As for my edition size, I got number 74 of only 500. Here's the first water effect, and it is absolutely massive. You'll see a notch with two large magnets at the bottom, and a large sort of swooping effect as it goes towards the top. When we zoom in on the base, it just sits nicely right next to the key where the shark is going to go. Speaking of the shark, here it is. It's absolutely incredibly realistic up close. From the front, you'll see a bunch of sharp teeth, and if we look to the side, you'll see a smooth spot. This is going to go up against the wave effect. You'll also notice two spots where the paint chipped. This is due to where the parts rub together when they're assembled. On the bottom is a very large key with a magnet that's going to slot into that green spot on the base. After the shark's in place, we get to see the second wave effect. Not quite as large as the first, but just as detailed. There's a key at the bottom of the magnet, and that little rounded part is going to sit right on top of the shark itself. Once the wave is in place, Kisame slots in right on top of it. Kisame himself is actually sculpted all in one piece. If we look up close to his face, he's got those shark-like features, the little beady eyes, and the sharp teeth. He's got his spiky purple hair, and if we zoom in on his hand, you'll see that it's kind of rounded out. This is where he'll be holding his samehada. Pulling back, we'll see the classic Akatsuki cloak with the red and white clouds adorned on it. Looking at his left hand, you also see that he has this ring from the Akatsuki as well. On his back, there's a small knot that just magnetizes right on there. The next part of the assembly is the ribbon. This is the first of two that attaches to samehada itself. And speaking of samehada, this thing is huge and surprisingly light. It has a vinyl-like feel to it, which makes sense because the attachment point is only in Kisame's hand. Samehada itself is adorned with a bunch of spikes, and you can see that nasty tongue with all the saliva on it. The first wrapping keys in with a metal rod on the bottom of samehada. It then slides into Kisame's hand where he holds it in place. The statue itself didn't actually come with the support rod. I decided to add it on my own just to reduce the stress of the weight on Kisame's hand as he holds samehada. Next up was the most difficult part for me for this assembly. The angle has to be just right for the metal rod to fit into the top key on the samehada. I decided to leave this whole clip in here just in case other people have the statue and are curious how it goes together. I eventually get the angle just right, and then the back end of the wrappings actually sits on the outer wave. And finally there he is in all his glory. He's so large that I had to pull back the camera far enough that you can actually see part of my display case in the background. At his tallest point, he stands at about 77 centimeters, or just over 30 inches tall. He's an absolute monster of a piece and demands your attention as soon as you walk into a room. Despite a couple of the flaws like the paint rubbing, the difficulty on that last wrapping, and needing the extra stand, I still think Ryu did an absolute killer job on this piece. Those few flaws absolutely pale in comparison to the overall presence this thing has. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing Kisame Hoshigaki by Ryu Studios. Thank you for watching.